Hey there! I've been uploading a little series of YouTube shorts I've called Heard of This One? It's been fun, and it's been keeping the algorithm warm for me during periods of absence so I don't have to bother my editor too much. I thought I'd upload a little compilation of them as a cop-out. And if I have something more to say about it, I'll pop it in here as a small bit of commentary, but I think I've covered my thoughts pretty thoroughly on all of them. So now, a bunch of games that you've maybe heard of, but most likely haven't. Heard of this one? How Fish is Made, a free game, extremely surrealist, and made by the developers of Mouthwashing. But don't hold it against them, huh? You play as a fish on his or her way to the fish afterlife, meeting other fish who are all getting ready to make the most important decision of their small fish lives. And you must too decide. Are you going down, or are you going up? It's a playful enough little take on determinism with a surprise musical number in the middle of it. Not for the faint of heart, it's a gory little affair, but it's free. Give it a shot if you've got the $0 to spare.
Hey there! If you want to find my sunken treasure chest, you'll have to try better than that.
My first one. I don't love how the font looks, it's a little weirdly spaced out. Did surprisingly well, first hint that I don't exactly love mouthwashing. Heard of this one? I wanna hug that gator. Hey, remember the one furry reptile walking sim that you didn't realize actually came out? It was called Goodbye Volcano High, and it did not look great. A small band of dudes got sick of the wait and released it early, creating Snoot Game, a renpai dating sim, highly downloaded as a sort of haha gotcha to a game that looked patently annoying, later cherished for having surprisingly likable characters and engaging arcs. It was about that time that the devs ran out of food in the pantry and had to actually make some money off their games. So they made I Wanna Hug That Gator, a game where you fuck an alligator. 5 stars. People didn't like me for covering this game, but fuck 'em. Heard of this one? Oneway Heroics. The Demon King is on the move and you have to venture out to stop him. Problem is, the world's currently in the middle of being destroyed. If you want to avoid destruction, you'd better get moving. Keep moving eastward to avoid a deathly black shadow and do your absolute best to level up and buy new equipment on the way from NPCs even less aware of their impending demise than the vacuous dum-dums from Majora's Mask. A relic of a purer part of indie game dev history, when guys with computer science degrees didn't have focus groups to tell them when they had not yet properly explained a gameplay concept. Check the guides on this one, but it's kind of a wild ride, and I wholly suggest it. I do not know why, but YouTube really didn't like this one. Bombed the first time, made the rookie YouTube mistake of just re-uploading it unedited, did not work out. Just removed it eventually. So here it is for posterity. Heard of this one? Streetep 21, 21st Century Basketball. Created entirely in Construct 3 and harkening back to excessively cool Dreamcast aesthetics, Streetep 21 is a criminally overlooked multiplayer basketball game, with simple-to-learn controls and a flow that effortlessly goes toe-to-toe with NBA Jam. Another addition to the growing list of if the AAA boys won't do it, then goddammit we'll make it ourselves indie titles, it's a hearty recommend, like more than most. Full disclosure, I've gone mini-golfing with the creator, Melancholy, once, and I'm 90% sure he'll agree to be my children's godfather if we go mini-golfing a second time.
Hey, I got a Glock in my Rari. 17 shots, I'm 38.
Heard of this one? The Song of Saya, a visual novel written by Gen Urobuchi, the guy behind Madoka Magica and Psycho Pass. You play as a man whose entire world has changed into flesh, blood, gore, and a persistent stench of vomit, and he's the only one who's noticed. Mere minutes from going out the fun way, our main character meets Saya, the only creature in this revolting reflection of reality that doesn't make him gag. It only seems like an allegory for porn addiction once you say it out loud. It's otherwise a stark, disgusting, darkly beautiful horror story that I had trouble getting through without puking. It's only got 2 choices, but if you're in the mood for a picture book, and you aren't faint of heart, Song of Saya is a seminal classic. Yeah, YouTube didn't like the P word. Still a great story, man. Could not get into Psycho Pass. Heard of this one? Quadrilateral Cowboy is a heist game where you're both the muscle and the chair. To Tutorializing itself with remarkable efficiency and clarity, you will learn on the fly how to hack using literal semicolon delineated text commands the world around you, and how to use that power to get what you want. Its interface is obviously not as complex as real coding or hacking, yet its core concepts are really not 100 miles off. If you want to feel both smarter and dumber than you actually are, give Quadrilateral Cowboy a shot.
You're gonna burn, all right.
You gotta get out of here, dude.
But I've got nerves of steel. I'm not big into books.
Heard of this one? Receiver 2, an utterly unique experience. It's a roguelike first-person shooter. I know, just stick with me here, I promise it's unique. Every part of the gun is simulated. Like all of them. There's no reload button. If you've got a revolver, there's a button to release the chamber. Empty the chamber, load bullets in one by one, spin the chamber if you're into that sort of thing, close the chamber, cock the hammer, and pull the trigger. These complex mechanics blend beautifully with a story of self-determination and radical independence, with a few gameplay sequences so shocking and affecting that you couldn't pay me to spoil it. A genuine must-play.
The feeding ramp is polished to a mirror sheen. The slide's been reinforced, and the interlock with the frame is tightened for added precision. The sight system is original too. The thumb safety is extended to make it easier on the finger. A long type trigger with non-slip grooves. A ring hammer. The base of the trigger guard's been filed down for a higher grip. And not only that, nearly every part of this gun has been expertly crafted and customized.
I don't think I'll be covering Overgrowth, that studio's other cult classic game, mainly because I was suggested by a couple of different people that I cover it, and that means I got my answer. That you guys have heard of this one. Heard of this one? Pizza Possum, a stealth game. No, really. A brilliant iteration on conventional stealth gameplay, Pizza Possum is a game where you play as a hungry possum, trying to nab as much food as he can with his grubby little grabby claws without getting caught. There are a number of options available to the player at any given moment to avoid downtime, making for the odd stealth game that consistently feels frantic and action-packed, particularly palatable with a pal.
Pizza, pasta, put it in a box, deliver it to my house and put it on my cock, my cock, my cock, my cock, my cock, my cock, my cock. Cheesy on my dinghy and toss on my walls.
Heard of this one? Manos, the Hands of Fate.
Well, you know, Manos.
Right. Not in so many words.
Manos, the Hands of Fate is the NES adaptation of the titular movie that never was. So legendarily bad was the original movie that the villains in cult classic bad movie riff show Mystery Science Theater 3000 were forced to apologize for showing it.
Yes.
Do something! Gah.
But is it really a pulp movie from the 20th century if it didn't get a low-budget game adaptation? The fellas over at Freak Zone Games sure didn't think so. Taking advantage of the movie's accidental public domain status, an adaptation was born that was... well, it's funny that it exists. Those same devs went on to make the Angry Video Game Nerd game and the Rocky Horror video game, both of which pretty decent actually.
The movie is the only reality show worth watching. It's a group of wives together in a house, fighting over their master and engaging in cat fights. I don't know how many horror films this movie inspired, but it certainly inspired Andy Cohen and the Bravo Network.
Make something you love for no other reason than love of the game, and I promise you this, the internet will ignore it. The only flop of mine that actually made me a little upset that it was a flop. Heard of this one? Perfect Vermin. A free, horror game on Steam? This looks way too fun to be a horror game. Mimics have infested the building and you have to flush them out, despite the fact that they look like every other construct in this environment. There are clues, God knows, but when you're losing this much time, you have to find and kill them now, and you can't afford to be careful. The dark repercussions of what exactly you're doing and why you're running out of time are only revealed after the damage is done. But what can you do now? You had to try. There was nothing else you could have done. Oof, I take it back, this is absolutely a horror game. On Steam for free. Still my best performing one. Maybe there's a lesson there, but I sure didn't learn it. You ever heard of 4-7-8 breathing? I have anxiety, and it's helped me out a lot. It's this simple. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds. Repeat. When I'm having a panic attack, it helps a lot. Like, a lot, man. I used to have an app that helped me through it, but it doesn't work on my new phone. Turns out all the Android apps for 4-7-8 breathing suck. So I vibe coded my own. It's free, there's no ads. I'm not making anything off of this, and I made it in 20 minutes anyway. Damn thing doesn't even have a proper icon. I just kind of want to stick it to the grifters on the Google Play Store. So the link's in the description if you want it, if you have anxiety, if you think you might have it, or if you're just having a bad day and you want help with a breathing exercise. Not a HOTO, or I heard of this one exactly, but goddammit, I'm still so mad at how awful the breathing apps on the Play Store are. Heard of this one? Rogue-lite Deck Builder. Joining the ranks of Slay the Spire, Balatro, and Inscription, Rogue-lite Deck Builder is a deck building game where you take several planks of wood and use them to construct a deck. The light is unreliable and does not stay on all the time, complicating your efforts to build a deck. Purchase upgrades, have strange conversations with a man-thing that insists you continue to build decks until you've earned your freedom. And don't turn on endless mode. You might think it sounds fun, but it's not. I think I recommend it? I'm pretty sure. Actually, wait, that's a good question.
Soar into tower. We are ready for takeoff.
Heard of this one? The Slaughtering Grounds. Created by Digital Homicide, an infamous game studio covered in depth by Frederick Knudsen and I wouldn't worry about it, this game was instrumental in the destruction of Steam Greenlight, a program where indie developers could crowdsource votes in order to allow smaller games onto their platform. Utilizing underhanded tactics to get asset-flipped garbage like the Slaughtering Grounds onto their storefront, Digital Homicide single-handedly displayed the dangers of unmoderated market flooding. In response, Steam created Steam Direct where anyone could post their game for $100, and it's moderated properly, and it works better. The Slaughtering Grounds was likely one of the first games to ruin the prestige behind the title of available on Steam, but in its wake, Steam became one of the greatest storefronts for indie games ever. The Slaughtering Grounds is not available anywhere anymore. You're not missing out. Heard of this one? Milk inside a bag of milk inside a bag of milk. Created by Russian developer Nikita Kryukov, this short experimental visual novel is not for the faint of heart. In a world of tokenized disability and infantilization, Milk One, as it's often referred to, provides a brief and diabolically honest glimpse into the world of a young Russian girl whose mental illness is so overwhelming that it makes most other depictions of anxiety and schizophrenia seem insultingly tame in comparison. You must help this young woman retrieve a bag of milk from the store. Once the bag of milk is placed inside a bag, that bag too becomes a bag of milk. And you are tasked with wresting your focus away from the bag of milk inside the bag of milk to try, with all your might, to pull off one simple adult task. And the strain may just be too much to handle.
Look, Pim, I know it's our job to help this guy and everything, but I think this guy's a lost cause. He's obviously made up his mind. Why don't we just cut our losses and get out of here?
Still my worst performing short. Funny. Heard of this one? Imscared. A pioneer in the space of indie horror games as we know them today, Imscared is the origin of the wake of many modern classics, such as Doki Doki Literature Club, Five Nights at Freddy's, and Faith, inasmuch as its use of deliberately retro graphics, stated to be a deliberate choice to allow the player's imagination to drive the horror, and its use of intentional fourth wall breaks, created what could arguably be called a new genre of meta-horror. The simple tricks pulled by this simple game proved that if Imscared can succeed, and succeed well, where the Callisto Protocol and Layers of Fear fail, then it is truly time to go back to basics.
Oops, you have to put the CD in your computer.
Made this one in DaVinci Resolve instead of Premiere, which I get for free because of work. I want to make the switch to Linux so bad. It's gotta wait, but I'm pretty happy with what I saw from Resolve in this one. Heard of this one? Bubsy 3D visits the James Turrell retrospective. Can I even fit this one in a short? Okay, here we go, lightning round. Bubsy the Bobcat, yeah, that one, had been in stasis for some years before 2013 when Arcane Kids, a games collective headed up by Ben Esposito, designer of some games you've probably heard of, including the much-loved / maligned Sonic Dreams collection, decided it was time for a triumphant return, even if they didn't technically have the rights to old Bubsy. The browser-based entry had players controlling, to the best of their ability, Bubsy, as he visited an exhibit housing multiple pieces by James Turrell, a key figure of the light and space movement. And while this game takes several jabs at postmodern art, Bubsy Visits James Turrell is, without a doubt, itself a piece of modern art, as echoed by internet gaming veteran Matthew Matosis. But all the talk in the world can't quite replicate the actual experience of actually playing the game, which is kind of the point of the game, seeing as it's about Turrell's work, which cannot be replicated on a computer, making this Bubsy game one of the more layered and complex browser games ever created. Done! I think I made it. I just hope I don't get cut. Heard of this one? Milk outside a bag of milk outside a bag of milk. Milk Outside a Bag of Milk Outside a Bag of Milk is the sequel to the indie darling Milk Inside a Bag of Milk Inside a Bag of Milk. Milk Outside a Bag of Milk Outside a Bag of Milk picks off right where Milk Inside a Bag of Milk Inside a Bag of Milk left off, with our main character returning from the store. The bag of milk, previously inside a bag, which by housing the bag of milk itself became a bag of milk, has now been placed outside the bag of milk. This semantically transforms the milk once inside a bag of milk inside a bag of milk into a bag of milk that is outside a bag of milk, making the title Milk Outside a Bag of Milk Outside a Bag of Milk a clever allusion to Milk Inside a Bag of Milk Inside a Bag of Milk. Available on Steam and Nintendo Switch.
Look, Pim, I know it's our job to help this guy and everything, but I think this guy's a lost cause. He's obviously made up his mind. Why don't we just cut our losses and get out of here?
I'm glad people didn't hate a more critical and nuanced take at an otherwise critically acclaimed game here. I'm pretty proud of this one. Heard of this one? Frog Fractions, Game of the Year Edition. I learned my decimals, but I'm terrible with fractions, so I decided to play this seminal classic by Twinbeard. After munching a bunch of fraction flies with my flippy frog tongue, I sure do know a little more about fractions than I did before. Perhaps the second greatest educational game next to the Oregon Trail, this game is particularly notable for not having any secrets of any variety. What you see is what you get, and it's free on Steam. No reason to not give this a try, and no reason to go searching for its sequel. What sequel? It doesn't have a sequel. Stop with this nonsense about a sequel. I've actually worked at the same company as Twinbeard, only talked to him once. Super nice guy. Heard of this one? Long Live the Queen. A Renpai visual novel in the princess maker genre with a twist. You're a princess. I know it doesn't sound like a twist, but if you really think about it, it is. You're a princess. You do not manage romantic relationships, you manage the classes you take, your skills, your diplomatic relations, dark political intrigue. The game is impressively difficult to navigate without getting young Princess Elodie brutally, though typically bloodlessly, killed. It's linear as hell. There is without a doubt an optimized way to play. It's not perfect, but it's a fun little experiment. And the first couple of tries before you get frustrated and pull up a walkthrough are full of interesting and emergent consequences. Heard of this one? Bomb Squad! Or, as I would explain to my friends whenever we got bored of Jackbox, Bomberman on physics. That usually turns some heads. Throw bombs at friends, get them killed, swing your character around and throw your bombs even further. It's chaotic, it's fun, and it's like not available anywhere anymore. Would you even believe me if I told you I first played this on Ouya? As best I can tell, it was only ever developed for Android hardware. This is my cry for help. Please, Eric Frohnman, creator of Bomb Squad, bring it to Steam. I'm begging you. I'd need my brother to finally stop asking me where my Ouya is so we can play it. It didn't work. Heard of this one? Orbo's Odyssey. Created by the almost excessively prolific Fever Dream Johnny, Orbo's Odyssey is a fairly normal game with fairly normal mechanics, undeserving of any particular note. You play as Orbo, an office worker who gets locked in his boss's office and can't escape because he has no hands with which to open the closed door. You must venture into the 4 open doors, in order to find the parts to craft an arm with which to open the door. It's an absurd little game with a beautiful little price tag and movement mechanics that are just, they're so much fun. Great for speedrunning. Heard of this one? Benbo Quest. The only indie game to have ever been released, with the arguable exceptions of Cave Story and Black Ops 2, Benbo Quest is a video game, touting the most pixel art to have ever been in a video game, and evil skeletons who absolutely and unreservedly deserve to have their asses handed to them on a silver platter. You play as Benbo, I think, and go on a mission of some variety. You might think this looks like suck-ass, but did you know it was too hot for Steam? That's right, it got taken off the platform after it decided to take a brave, meaningful artistic risk by calling itself Team Fortress 3 briefly. But that's okay. Its sequel, Benbo Wars, is back with Daddy Gaben. Be sure to try the demo and wishlist in the description below, as well as play the original game. It's weirdly fun.
I'd say I was speechless, but I have one more thing to announce. Coming this year.
Benbo Quest.
2!
Thumbtack's a cool guy. I kind of had to trust that he wouldn't take this looks like suck-ass joke personally, and I don't think he did, lol. Heard of this one? Kingsway. Check out the new Kingsway operating system, available for way less than Windows 11 and perfect for managing your quest to save the world from the forces of evil. Manage your stats, weapons, quests, experience, and dungeon crawling seamlessly with a unique window-based interface. Much like Progress Quest back in the day, Kingsway takes the standard setting for a fantasy adventure and presents it in a new, clever, funny, and weirdly addictive direction. Famously part of the "oh god, are we gonna lose access to this game forever" scare, when Adult Swim Games sure looked a hell of a lot like it was shutting down, the rights have gone back to the developer, Andrew Morish, and the game is an absolute blast. Check it out on Steam.
Good morning, Paul. What will your first sequence of the day be?
Computer load up, celery man, please.
Yes, Paul.
Actually clickbaited my girlfriend with this one. She saw it on the homepage and clicked on it not knowing it was me. Classic. Heard of this one? LA Death Disc. The LA Game Space is a notorious Kickstarter that occurred in 2012, a non-profit space dedicated to the study of game art and game design. It never fully materialized and is worth further research, but the Kickstarter came with a bundle of games, including an alpha of a maximalist skateboarding game by legendary game collective Arcane Kids. LA Death Disc was designed by Bo Blythe, Roger Reckadam Hicks, and Robin Arnott, the first of whom you may recognize as the creator of Samurai Gun. In the same vein, LA Death Disc is a multiplayer combat game centered around killing your opponent and dunking a sick basket on him. It's simple and addictive, and an absolute crime it's not available on Steam. The only reason I have access to LA Death Disc is because I was a backer, and that one was fun enough to where I've kept it in my Dropbox all this time. And that's it. I'll make you guys another compilation when I don't know, when I feel like it. Adios!